welcome to another video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Today I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up, just going over the 9 books that I read in July, and I'm also going to tag on to the end my August TBR because I've already done a video about my summer holiday reading plans, and I've just got a few books to add to that which are going to make up my whole of my August reading. So let's get going. The first book I read in July was The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. My goodness, this feels like a million years ago I read this. I enjoyed it, but by the end I'd lost a bit of interest, I'll be honest. I thought it was beautifully written, and the first few chapters I was like, God, I'm loving this is going to be amazing. But by the end I just feel like none of the characters were very strong and I wasn't that interested in them. The storyline kept me interested, but I just thought I just didn't love it as much as I hoped I would, and that disappointed me a little bit because I really hoped to enjoy this. So I think I gave this 2 stars on Goodreads. Check out my Goodreads. I can't remember, but I'm sure it was 2 stars. The next book I read was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I read this for my book club that I run at work, and again I had very high hopes for this. I mean, I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. But I feel like maybe I bigged it up a bit too much to myself, and I was like, this is going to be the best book that I've ever read in my whole life. And because I'm not going to go into too much detail because I did review this properly in my book club roundup, which I will link below. So if you want to find out further details about that, just link below. The next book I read was The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Chris Riddle. This I picked up from the library. It's on my, I'm just wanting to read all the graphic novels that I can, and I picked this up. It is a beautiful book. The illustrations are beautiful, and it's got like tinges of gold in all of the, so here for instance, in the little dwarves have little gold bits in them. The front cover has gold on it, and it was just beautiful throughout. But I didn't love it. I think I might even have given it 1 star because I was just a bit like, to me it was like reading an old fairy tale book that I just wasn't that bothered about. So beautiful illustrations, but not so great storyline, and it was a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, so 1 star. The next book I read was Kate Atkinson, Behind the Scenes at the Museum, which I absolutely loved this book. So I had 3 books that I loved this month. This was one of them. And after I read Life After Life last month for my online book club, I wanted to read all of Kate Atkinson, and I'm definitely going to be searching out more of her stuff because this was brilliant. So it just tells basically like simple life stories of people, but in so much detail and just so much, and I was just so interested, and she's just a beautiful writer, and I just love it. And I've listened to the Penguin podcast this month, which was Richard E. Grant interviewing Kate Atkinson. She just sounds like the nicest lady, and I just love her. And this I borrowed from somebody, and I'm going to buy my own copy because I want to reread this again and again and again, and the same with Life After Life. And I just can't wait to read more and more Kate Atkinson, and she's just become one of my favourite authors this year, and I absolutely adored this book, and it's just great, and it's really witty and funny and then sad in places, and it's just got everything. It just brings everything to the party. So great, 5 stars. The next book I read was my first ever Murakami, which is Colourless Tazaki, Tuzukuru Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage. I got this out from the library. Murakami is a really popular author that is always on BookTube, and always that's how I discovered him, basically by watching people's videos on BookTube that love him. So I came to this thinking, oh my god, this is going to be amazing, it's going to be wonderful, and it fell a bit flat. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. I did not enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars, but it wasn't as good as I thought. And having contacted Mercedes from Mercy's Book in Musings, she said this probably isn't the best one to start with. Norwegian Wood is supposed to be amazing, which is definitely going to be the next one that I'm going to read. And I'm not giving up on Murakami yet because I still enjoyed this. I just thought that it was a bit weak. Like, none of the characters were particularly likeable, and there was an incident in there which I thought had been a bit plopped in. Like, I sort of felt like nothing had really happened throughout the book, so then they just did this thing at the end to say, oh yeah, and then we'll pop this bit of drama in at the end. So it follows a guy called Tuzukuru Tazaki, who had he was in a group of 5 when he was at school, very good friends, and all of his friends had a colour in their last name, so he considered himself colourless, and also thought that he didn't really bring much to the group. He thought he was a bit of a, like, just a bit rubbish basically compared to so and so who was amazing and could play the piano amazingly, or another friend who was amazing at rugby and was such a personality and things like that. And then one day they cut him off, and then they never know anymore, and then he just accepts it and goes on, and it's like 20 years in the future when he decides he wants to find out why he's having a relationship with a woman, and she says, I think you've got lots of sort of hidden feelings and things still going on because of this thing that happened to you when you were in school. You need to find out why they cut you off, etc. So it's just him going through that, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, and I really wanted to love it. But I will show you the Under the Dust Jacket because it is gorgeous. I mean, look at that Under the Dust Jacket. That almost forgives it for being not the best book I've ever read, but that is beautiful, and it feels amazing. And yeah, but I am going to read some more Murakami, and if anyone's read any Murakami, then do let me know. And if anyone's got a good idea, I mean, I've heard Norwegian Wood is a good place to start, so I'm going to consider this my start of Murakami. But if anybody knows any other Murakami books that are worth reading, then let me know. The next book I read, I haven't got with me because I've lent it to my mum, was The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I read this for my radio book club, and I loved it. It was really gripping. It did everything that it said on the tin. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I will link my book club roundup, which has got reviews for We Were Liars, Eeny Meeny by MJ Arledge, and A Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, and I gave Girl on the Train 4 stars. Just as I mentioned before, Eeny Meeny is another book I read this month by MJ Arledge. I gave this 2 stars on Goodreads. I don't think it lived up as much to Girl on the Train as I didn't love it as much as I love Girl on the Train, and I think maybe had I read this not straight away after Girl on the Train, then maybe I would have given it a bit of a higher rating, but I was just like still loving Girl on the Train, still thinking about it. Again, I discussed this in my book club roundup, so I will leave the link downstairs down below for that. The next book is the best book that I read this month. This was amazing. Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I came about this again through BookTube, saw somebody doing a review of this, and thought, oh my god, I must read that. It is the most eye-opening, life-changing, makes you question things, make you question what's going on in your own neighbourhood book about a young couple, Efemelu and Obinze, who are Nigerian. Efemelu decides to move to America. Obinze is due to follow her, but cannot due to lots of immigration things, etc. America won't let him in, so he goes into undocumented life in the UK. So you follow both of them. I enjoyed the Efemelu bits a bit more, I think, just because I loved her so much, and I loved how much of a strong woman she was. And yeah, so it follows her life in America, where she starts very lowly and has some awful experiences, and then until gradually she works her way up, basically until she owns her own house, and she writes a blog about race in America. But on the other side, it follows Obinze, who is now living an undocumented life as an illegal immigrant in the UK, and it was just eye-opening, and it answered questions about race that I didn't even know I had, and it was just amazing. It's the best book I've read this year. 5 stars. I cannot recommend it enough. Amazing. Well done. So I haven't finished this book yet, but this is the last book that I'm reading of the month. It is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. I'm reading it in my book club at work, which is on Tuesday. It is now Saturday, so I do need to read this quite quickly. Not that I've got much more to read, but it tells the story of a couple who work on a remote island with nobody else on there, looking after the lighthouse, and they've been trying for a child for a long, long time. Unfortunately, Izzy, the lady in the relationship, has had 2 miscarriages, and then one day a boat washes up on the shore with a dead man inside it and a live baby, which they then bring up as their own, and then it finds out like the backstory about this boat washing up, and it's just basically about choices. So what may seem like one choice is right isn't always the same case. I'm enjoying this. I think the book cover is absolutely the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. Somebody else's book haul, Julie from Juju Books, she did a book haul, she bought it, and she had a gorgeous cover, big navy cover, massive lighthouse in it. This, I just think I'd be put off to read this because of this book cover, but I still think it's enjoyable and I'm enjoying it. So those are the 9 books that I've read this month. The best book I read by far was Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I cannot wait to read more of her stuff. Honestly, I'm like thinking about it constantly. I still think about this even now. Right now I'm thinking about it. So I thought I would tag on to the end of this video my August TBR. I've already done a video with my summer holiday reads, which are all here, and I will link that below. I'm not going to go into many details about this, but I have got, here they all are. Hello! And they are Jean Rhys, White Sargasso Sea, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, Looking for Alaska by John Green, The Spectacular Now by Tim Tharp, Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill, Lorelei by Laura Dockrill, and This One Summer by Gillian and Mariko Tamakai. So out of these, this Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill I'm reading for my online book club, and Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell I'm reading for my radio book club. I have a few more books to read in August, the next one being the one that I'm reading for my actual book club, and that is Tara Road by Maeve Binchy. Now, Maeve Binchy is a massive guilty pleasure of mine. I absolutely adore her writing. She just tells stories of families in Ireland, just everyday things, like there might be a bit of drama involved or something, but it's just beautiful, easy reading, and I love Maeve Binchy, and I know it's like not a cool thing to like, but she is an absolute guilty pleasure of mine, and I can't wait to read this. Look at that, I'm going to absolutely love every moment of that. So that is what I'm reading for my book club at work, so that'll be another book that I read in August. I'm also borrowed A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki off of my friend Emma. Ruth Ozeki is an author that is very popular on BookTube, and I've been wanting to read one of her books, and I picked up a copy in the Oxfam bookshop in Canterbury. My friend Emma said, I've got that book, I will lend it to you. Well, did I know that this would be the most beautiful book? Look, it's bound so beautifully. So looking forward to reading that. I don't really know anything about it. All I know is that she's a Japanese author and that she's very popular. So looking forward to reading that. And then the last two books are books that appeared on my July TBR that I never got around to reading, which are Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. Want to read this because I really want to read Go Set a Watchman, so I want to just remember this a bit better. And I also want to read some of my dad's Hogwarts library. So in here we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Tales of Beedle the Bard, and Quidditch Through the Ages. I really want to read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them again because they're making a film of that, so I'm interested to see where that goes. And I've only ever read Tales of Beedle the Bard, so I really want to read. And they won't take me long, I just haven't had a chance to read them. So there it is, the books that I read in July and the books that I'm planning on reading in August. If you have read any of the books that I read in July and you would like to tell me what you thought of them, then please do. If you've read Americana and you loved it and you think you know something that I will also enjoy, please let me know because I am desperate to read more. I've been left in an absolute fug afterwards because I just can't stop thinking about it, and I really want to read more stuff like Americana. If you have read any of the books that I'm reading in August, then let me know what you thought of them. No spoilers, please. And I will see you next week for another BookTube video. Goodbye!